It is time for class. The radio man is here. I have come to tell you the stories of history. I have come to narrate to you the question of political power. It's about politics. It's about time. The program is State Affairs on Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. I am Edmondo Pillow. Welcome to my class. What is the theme of this class? The theme of this class is Tinubu-Wike versus Fubara, power, betrayal, and the lessons of history. That is the theme of this class. Tinubu-Wike versus Fubara, power, betrayal, and the lessons of history. I have followed politics over time. I love politics. The politics of Canada is different from the politics of Japan. The politics of China is different from the politics of the United States. Even British politics is different from French politics. But in Africa, in most countries of Africa, politics wears the same character. And because of the character of politics in Africa, African states are poor, including Nigeria. So the kind of politics you play determines your level of development. For states ready for development, they advance their politics in the interest of the common good. For states that will be perpetually grounded on issues of poverty, violence, corruption, their politics is demeaning, brutal, and empty. So, the lessons I'm going to push in this class is the lessons of brutal politics. The kind of politics that continues to enhance corruption, power for power's sake, and high level of underdevelopment. My theory. So, in this climb, politics is not about friendship. So that is one of the lessons you should take away from this class. In this climb, politics is about control. One of the differences between Buhari and Tinubu is that Buhari loved power. Buhari wanted power. Tinubu loves power. Tinubu wanted power. So that's the similarity. But the difference is that Buhari wasn't really interested in controlling who. He just wanted power. And once he got power, he's fine. So Buhari wasn't really interested in who becomes the governor of Katsina State, even when he was from Katsina. He wasn't even ready to influence the House of Assembly of Katsina. As far as he had his presidential power, he was fine. But that is not Tinubu. Tinubu wants power and wants total control. You could say he controlled Lagos over time. Now he's at the top. He wants total control. And to gain total control, he can be brutal. Buhari is not a man for total control. If Buhari wanted total control, he would have used Amechi to bully Wike. Wike would not have had a second term. But he wasn't really ready. At the point, he told Amechi to calm down, leave that man alone. If Buhari was Tinubu, he would have taken Rivers from Wike. Wike wouldn't have gotten a second term. But Wike is also not Fubara. Fubara is lazy. It is about power. In Rivers State, near some Wike and Siminalai Fubara played a high-stake game of power. And in that kind of high-stake game of power, only one could survive. This was not just a political disagreement, okay? It is a war. A war fought with institutions, alliances, and brute force. Are you in class? What is going on in Rivers State is not just political disagreement. It is beyond that. It is a war being fought with institutions, alliances, and brute force. At its core, it is a classic struggle. A ruler attempting to maintain his grip on power and his prestige seeking to break free. But in the world of real politics in Africa, in Nigeria, gratitude is a weak foundation. Gratitude is a weak foundation. Oh, I helped you to power, so you must continuously honor me. No. In a situation of real politics, gratitude is a weak foundation. You know, sometimes in my analysis, I said, how did Tinubu become so powerful? I then looked at Babatunde Fashola. I said Babatunde Fashola was politically lazy. If you look at Fashola's personal character, he's like Fubara, but he's more brilliant. You know, when a political godfather somebody to take his place, they don't go for the aggressive ones. They pick, they know. They pick the one who does not have the capacity to fight. So they go for the one who can not stage a battle, who has no structure, so that they can continue to intimidate. Fashola was one of that kind of character. He didn't have the capacity to wrestle with Tinubu. He would have been the person to put Tinubu down, because there was no way Tinubu could have defeated him if he wanted to fight with the resources he controlled. But his personal character didn't give him that capacity to look into Tinubu's eye. So Tinubu was right to pick him. If Fashola decided to fight, he would have taken the House of Assembly with the resources he controlled as governor. But Tinubu knew the man he picked. So by the time Fashola gave him 8 years to consolidate, he had become the landlord. You could see what happened in the Lagos State House of Assembly recently. You know, someone who has been quiet. But, okay, we'll come to that. Let's not mix it up. I'm going to walk you down history lane. Are we learning from history? There are always consequences. But I'm not going to go back to 1962 in the Western region, that would be in another class. I will also open the line. You can also take me up. You can share your views. It's a class. I want to learn from you too. I can be wrong. Now, Fubara can be said to be a puppet that was crowned. Puppet Fubara. Before the 2023 elections, Fubara was not a name known in the political circles of Rivers State. He was a technocrat, a financial expert, helping Wike, to manipulate the books. He has been around though. He's a Wike boy. He's the one who looks at the book when millions are moving. So he knows where all the billions have moved to. He knows. He knows. He's a technocrat playing from behind the scene. He's a wicked boy in Nigerian politics. May you not be a wicked boy. Yes. But Wike, the then governor, needed a successor who would remain loyal. Someone who would hold the seat but not the power. Someone who would hold the seat but not the power. Politics in state of empty politics is war. Fubara is not Bismarck. Bismarck of Germany was that quiet general that many took for granted. Bismarck wanted power, but he never showed that he wanted power. Bismarck was calm, he was loyal, but he knew he wanted power. So they took him for granted. Nobody checked him. When Bismarck rose, boom, he got power. And what did he do? He went straight for everybody and took them down. And then united Germany under Prussian rule. Fubara is lazy. Who is lazy politically? As we go, you understand the point I'm making. It doesn't mean that Wike is smart. No. Remember, this is Tinubu's war, not really Wike's war. We'll get to that point. I said politics in a state of empty politics is war. Not war in the conventional sense, but a battlefield where strategy, deception, and brute force determine survival. The feud between Nyesom Wike and Fubara is a textbook case of power dynamics, betrayal, and the relentless struggle for dominance. Beneath the surface of political appointment and legal battles lies a deeper truth. Power is never given, it is taken. In this kind of politics, power is taken. And remember, that is Tinubu's philosophy. He said, go for it. Grab it. Run with it. That is Tinubu's philosophy. Grab it. Run with it. That is Tinubu's political philosophy. I'm thinking, in 20 or 30 years' time, when Tinubu is gone, what will history write about him? I'm sure that history has nothing to write about his ideology. He has no ideology. Tinubu is not ideological when it comes to politics. So history will have no theory about him like Awolowo. Because sometimes he stands for nothing. He just stands for power. It's not just him. Most of the politicians of this era stands for nothing. They just stand for power. So I don't think history will be kind to him. Because history is never kind to men who stand for power. History always have a way of slaughtering them. If you check history. But for the Mahatma Gandhis, history has a way of elevating them and deifying them, their Awolowos. Tinubu will not attain that level of deity. Tinubu does not have what you call a cult-like following. No, he can't have it. Cult-like following comes with some level of ideological pursuit. So if you take money away from Tinubu, he will lose power. Because there is no message. It's not just about Tinubu. It's about the politics of this time. So that is why you see a Wike will fight Fubara to stand still. Because if you take money away from Wike, he's finished. It was Rivers State money that gave him power. He could dole out the money to anybody. So once that money is gone, he's finished. That is why you see the battle in Rivers State. Because you must continue to have the resources to oil the political machinery, or there will be rust and Wike will be gone. So it's a struggle of the money of Rivers State. But have you also asked why? It's not just about Tinubu. How come every president always fight a war in Rivers State? It was Obasanjo that didn't really fight a war. Perhaps he had an understanding with Odili. But Jonathan fought Amechi to stand still. And Wike was the agent to fight Amechi. And Wike was compensated with the governorship position. When Amechi came under Buhari, Amechi fought Wike using federal might. But at some point, Buhari told him, hey man, let him be. Now Wike, using Tinubu's might, is fighting Fubara. Why Rivers all the time? We'll get to that point. Are you in this class? Hey, power is never given, it is taken. Run with it. Fubara did not fight for the PDP ticket. It was handed to him. The campaign. Wike funded everything with Rivers State's money, not Wike's money. Because Wike has never established an industry, so he has no money. So if you say Wike is rich today, it is Rivers State money. Because Wike has never founded any industry. So if you say Wike is a billionaire today, I will take him to court. How? Where is the industry? Where did you make the money from? So when you say Wike funded Fubara, Rivers State's money funded Fubara, Shea can tell me he has money. Because before he became governor, he had companies. So he can tell me he was a billionaire before he became governor. But not Wike. Fubara was not the face of his own political battle. He was not the face of his campaign. I don't have sympathy for Fubara. No, he's lazy. He was not the face of his own campaign. Wike was the face of that campaign. Fubara was just following behind. Boy, sit down. Boy, close your eyes. Boy, go to bed. Lazy. Wike took the lead as if running for a third term. Fubara was a candidate in name only. And they grabbed the power. They grabbed it. Fubara and Wike grabbed that power. The election in Rivers State is what history will judge later. They grabbed it. And they ran with it. You see, Fubara's rise was not a triumph of his own making. He was not a political force. He was a tool, carefully selected and positioned by Wike to ensure continuity of control. At the beginning, he was a governor without his own army. He was a puppet-made king. He owned everything to Wike, but Wike made a critical error. Wike assumes that gratitude lasts forever. That is being naive. Wike is naive. Wike is naive. You know, sometimes I'm asking, how will Sheyi behave after he leaves office? Who will Sheyi pick to be the next governor? I'm watching. Will Sheyi want to control him? He will lose the battle. You can't control him. Any governor that is controlled by a past governor is lazy. Because the power in that office demands that you should not be controlled. Yes, you can respect your predecessors. Because you need to take decisions. So one man will not sit down somewhere and be telling you what to do. Even in Lagos State, Tinubu did not really exert total control on Fashola. He still had some opportunity to do some things. But Wike wanted to grab the whole of Rivers State as an ex-governor. He was naive. Wike controlled the election machinery. Like I said, he financed the campaign with Rivers State money. Wike handpicked the commissioners. He built government. He built a government where every key decision flowed through him. But Wike forgot that power is substance. Once tasted, it is rarely relinquished willingly. Fubara, having occupied the throne, inevitably sought to free himself from his creator's grip. Let's hear the voice of Fubara. He says he stands on truth. Let's feel him.
As a human being, I know you feel somehow, but just relax. God has our back. Our back is not on anybody, it's God. I want to thank you for your support and assure you that if there is one person on this planet Earth that will continue to stand by you, I will be that person. I assure you that I will lead you with honor. I will lead you with respect. And I will lead you with integrity. Knowing that when I leave here, I will have questions to answer. If I'm called upon 20 years, 30 years from today, I want to be proud to defend my position. So I thank you and assure you that I will not disappoint you. We must continue to tell the world that against what is being said, that there is no governance, that there is legitimate, purpose-driven governance in Rivers State.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
The class has just started. If you are in class, come on X. Let me know that you are in class. Are you on X? Olani Sam Legend Baba is on X. He says, I'm in class, radio man, ready to glean from your vast depth of knowledge today, as always. Let's go. Yeah, Sam Legend, we are going. I'm happy you are in class. If you are in class, come on X. Let me know. Come and show your presence now. Shitu Hakim Ade Damola says Edmond Fashola today is more peaceful and respected. Tinubu understands power and he had built structures to succeed with it. Fashola attempted to grab power, but when he couldn't run with it due to the structure in place, he gently applied wisdom and came down. Okay, yeah? At some point he wanted, but at that time it was too late. It was too late. There's always the right time to strike. And once you miss that time, it becomes a deadly struggle. Shitu Hakim Adidamola, thank you. Thank you for your analysis. There are lessons to learn from them. I'm happy you are in class. Abiodun David says Tinubu is interested in the resources in Rivers State. That is why he's using Wike to fight Fubara. Tinubu has got what he wanted. Abiodun David on X. Makestus Oshinowa says Wike can now cross-legged with a glass of 1865 wine and say we told him if he didn't day, he didn't day. If he didn't day, he didn't day. Big Pedro, good morning. I can see you in class. Olani, the River State drama. Conflict writing by Wike and directed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Olani is in class. Abeza Charles Obinna says the character of any state reflects the character of her leaders. Now, once you repost on X, we bring more persons to the class. And those persons can also share their knowledge. So as we join the class on X, repost. Repost means you are calling more people to join the class. We are also streaming on YouTube. So you can leave your comments on YouTube. I'm coming on YouTube soon. We are streaming on TikTok. Are you on TikTok? Search for Edmondo Bilo on TikTok. And you can leave your comments there. We are streaming on LinkedIn. Search for Edmondo Bilo on LinkedIn. And you join the class. We are also streaming on State Affairs app. Download the app on Google Play Store and iOS. We are streaming on Splash FM Facebook page. So join the class on Facebook. Let me know if you are in class. Come. Let's bring more people to the class. Let's repost. I want more people in this class. Because there is a lot to say about power in this class. I'm not in a rush. I've got a lot to say. I have about 25 pages here of my thoughts on power, on what is going on in Rivers State. And I want to learn from you. So bring more persons to the class. Let's repost. If you're on TikTok, let's reshare. Let's share. Let me know if you are in class. Hey, Shola, let's know who is in class. Let's pick one or two calls. You know, make the call brief. Just tell me you are in class, and you can say one or two things. 070-694-930-00. So that's the number to call. 070-694-930-00. You can also call 070-144-75770. Say hello to the radio station. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Good morning, Mr. Toya Brown.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. A beautiful one yet again this morning. You nailed it. It is power, struggle, power and money. And that is what is happening in Rivers State. Like you rightly analyzed this morning, Fubara, I wouldn't say is weak. I wouldn't say it's weak. It's just that it's a decent, disciplined human being.
Decent, discipline, and they grab power.
Yeah, no, but power, see, somebody has to be there. Now, you see, Ovilo, this man was the accountant general for almost about 8 years, if I can recall, with this weekend. He knows where the naira is. He knows where the belongs to. He knows the movement. He is not approving. He doesn't approve. Accountant does not approve. The governor approves. He only executes. So he knows where the one naira or two naira is. But remember that there was a time EFCC came calling, and they were taking the books in River State for fraud and so on. What happened? The governor has immunity. You cannot arrest him. And so Fubara was to be picked up, and Wike took Fubara into the government house so that EFCC cannot pick him. just because it's his boy. He knows where the naira are. So when at the time such a person is given a place of authority, and you know very well that he knows the in and out of this government, and then you decided to control him, even when you are no longer there. You want him to sit down, whatever issue you take, you employ the commissioner. We paid all the bills of the National Assembly, the State Assembly, everything. If Fubara has no contribution, it's only you.
All right.
It tells me 1 minute, my brother. It tells me that Wike was for third term by proxy. And that is why the Popo boy said, no, give me time to let me put my wings now.
All right.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's make it brief. I take another call. Yes, the lines will be open. Let's go. Good morning. Are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, you see, I'm quite agree with your analysis this morning.
Hey, turn down the volume of your radio set. Oh, what's going on? Wait. Let's be patient with him. You're not turning down the volume of your radio set.
Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Hello? All right, Sholare is here. He's my studio manager at this time. Hello, good morning.
Hello, Edmund. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
My name is Debo. I'm calling you from Akobo.
Debo, good to hear your voice.
Yeah, I want to highlight that the best historical reference to this history class this morning is the issue between Awolowo and Akintola. And this story might not be complete if we don't reference that, especially as regards to the possible consequences that might arise between Fubara, Wike, and Tinubu. So I just want you to go down history lane as regards the consequences between Awolowo, Akintola, and what led to the war here and eventually the civil war in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Yes, I've mentioned that this morning, but I said I'm not going there. I'm not going there this morning. I said it. That reminds me of what happened in the 1960s, but I'm not going there. Well, that would so broaden it. Not on this edition. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is Akimbolu Shere.
Akimbolu Shere, good to hear your voice.
Yeah, good to hear your voice too. In fact, I really love analysis this morning. I have to go to my Facebook page to invite people to come and listen to what you have to say about Tinubu and Wike. In fact, you did justice to the character of the two of them. The difference between Tinubu and Buhari is exactly as you just said it. Tinubu loves to control. He loves control. Once he grab power, he wants to hold on to it as far as he can. He has do that one in Lagos. He still wants to do it on national level. And I think he has even extended his control. The National Transport Union now, he has now asked his boys to be the president of the NURTW. So, I think the problem will continue to persist when we have our political to be so power drunk. And the problem will continue, and the effect will be on us, the masses. I was telling somebody yesterday that Tinubu has done so many things in his power grabbing mind to inflict so much pain on us. The Nigerian people are suffering for it. Now, the river people are suffering for it. See what is happening. Thank you. I'm in the class, always in the class. I'm enjoying your class.
Thank you. Remember, I have not said that Fubara is weak. I'm only saying he's lazy. I will explain at some point. I've not said he's weak. We all have our weaknesses. But I'm saying he's lazy. You see, there's what you call the illusion of control. Every ruler believes he can control his heirs. And that is the first mistake. Perhaps only Tinubu have succeeded so far. You see, power is not transferred in a system of brutal politics. In a system of brutal politics, power is taken. You take it, you grab it, and you run with it. But in that kind of politics, development will not happen. Okay? The people will remain poor and the country will be violent. Even if you recruit everybody as part of the army and police, within the police and army, they will be triggering the violence because that will be the character of the state. You can see Jonathan fought terrorism. Buhari fought terrorism. Tinubu is fighting terrorism, banditry, and it is growing. They cannot tackle it because the character of the politics will continue to encourage it and it will be expanding. Are you there? You see, the master tend to believe that the servant will remain loyal. The servant knows he must break free. This is the eternal dance of power. Wike believed he could outmaneuver history. He made Fubara governor, thinking he could rule through him. But a governor is not a commissioner. A governor controls money. A governor commands institutions. A governor, if he is wise, becomes his own man. Any governor that allows any other person to control him is foolish. It is the height of foolishness for you to have that kind of power and allow anybody to control you from outside. It's like Tinubu becoming president now, Obasanjo will be controlling him. In that case, he will no longer be the commander-in-chief. You see, the wicked now that wants to control never allowed anybody to come near him. Wike wanted to control Atiku, control PDP. But he feels he can control Fubara. Wike is naive. You see, let me make a point here before I go on. If not for Tinubu, Wike cannot fight Fubara. Take note. The power Wike is having is the federal might Tinubu is giving him. There's no way Wike, a former governor, will fight a sitting governor. The sitting governor controls billions. And he who controls billions dictates the tune. It's not because you are wise that Wike is fighting Tinubu, Wike is fighting Fubara. It's Tinubu's war. You can see when he's going into Rivers State, he goes with armored vehicles, escort. It's Tinubu that is giving him. Without Tinubu, Wike cannot fight Fubara. You see, when Wike was fighting Amechi, it was not because Wike was rugged. It was Jonathan's war. It was Jonathan's war. Patience Jonathan was interested in who became the governor of Rivers. So it was Jonathan's war. Wike was just a foot soldier. So this is Tinubu versus Fubara. Take note. This is Tinubu versus Fubara. We don't know where the war will take us to, but the war has just begun. They say Tinubu is strategic. Let's see. Let's see. Wike believed he could outmaneuver history. A governor, if he is wise, becomes his own man. It's like you're not telling me that Ladoja will come and be controlling Shi. How? Or Lamadeshina will control Ajimobi. How? Adam Soshomole wanted to try it with Obaseki. Obaseki was even lucky. Obaseki didn't pull out on time. He didn't pull out on time. And Fubara did not learn from Obaseki. Fubara is lazy. Fubara does not learn from history. They are going to squeeze him. So the illusion of power has been shattered. The students turned against the teacher. The master became the hunted. This has happened before. It will happen again. The radio man is here. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Stay tuned and stay cool.
the soap-making industry in Ikpapo seems to be one of the critical identities of Ikpapo as a place. Every homestead has its own methodology of going about the soap-making in Ikpapo, but it's still cottage industries. It's still at subsistence level. It's at the lowest rung of the value chain. The methodology, the know-how, the identity, the technology is still there. In my view, there is an opportunity, a great opportunity for this to rise further up the value chain, which is the thrust of the kind of intervention we're trying to make with our foundation and the National Youth Service Corps members and volunteers that are working with us on this project. The industry of our women and their economic importance to the livelihood of families, to training children and helping the community grow, for the longest time, I believe, has been underemphasized, has been understated. Our women are not indolent. They are hardworking. I mean, if you go to the length and breadth of the southwest of Nigeria and southeast as well, you find them industrious, hardworking, dedicated, breadwinners, I dare say, in the society. So the thinking that women are sitting at home, warming the bench, to be given handouts is a fallacy that has gone for too long. A research of this nature will find, I mean, let me give an example. We were valuing the naira worth of a tray that the woman, one of the women our team worked with, was selling. And that old tray was going to about 50,000 naira, sold in a day. If 50 to 70,000 naira is sold in a day, multiply that by 10, okay? Suddenly that woman is no longer the poor peasant that we thought she was. But the challenge is the packaging, the branding, the identity, those other things that will add value to it to make it acceptable on a global market, on a global scale. Refining the technology, like a conversation with the KBSC would have shown that while they are using their legs to thread in the process, a machine could be done to thread from the white oil to the black oil, consolidating it to put it, take it further up the value chain from cottage industry to, a small soap making factory. And from that further down is what needs to be done. But that the women are involved, the women are active in industry, and the women are critical to the economic success story of a place like Ikpapo, as they are, as you find across the length and breadth of Africa. Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikpapo. Interestingly, together with our Ori, which is shea butter, and also, we also have a variant of Gari. So when I'm not throwing shades at Ijebu Gari and Egba Gari, but we have our own Ikpapo Gari as well. But the focus here is our Oshe Dudu. Yes, Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikpapo to the world that can distinguish us and is on the journey, particularly with this opportunity you've given us, Edmond, to be documented to the world. What we're trying to do at the Beulah Day Foundation, working with Ikpapo, and the
was rather a tough experience of my life because I didn't have a successor. Let me tell you today, Governor Wike and Governor Fubara, this plane you want to start flying now, I flew that plane before you by the grace of this man. This plane, tomorrow night you enter, His Excellency is coming. I flew that plane from Akure, 7 p.m. I'm in Port Harcourt. Mommy is a witness. I want to say to you, sir, you came in with the hands of God. You are a miracle governor. Today, you are Governor Rivers State. My brother, the day your eyes begin to see, you will miss road. Close your eyes completely. Maybe if I have a godfather, I won't have problem. Maybe if I have a godfather like our father here and Wike, I will not have problem. I didn't have one. They oppressed me. They showed me pepper. The moment your eyes begin to see in this government, you will have problem. Oh. Close your eyes. Those windows, if you can close them, close it. For you to have eternal peace in your, I don't know, but let me say your 8 years. The way you will use the 8 years is in your hand. Adam and Eve, the very day Adam began to rationalize God's word, Adam, the very day he rationalized God's word, Adam realized.
Splash FM 105.5.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
We are gathered here today.
You want to see more than you are supposed to see, you begin to see spirit. Oh. I know we go. I know we go. Now, if he say he will fight you, it's either you surrender or you look for that trouble to the end. God will not find you weakest problem. Oh. He has found you weakest favor. Remain in God's favor and weakest favor. God bless you.
Disregarding the rights of the Itasa community and causing irreparable harm to the biodiversity of our environment, the health and livelihoods. The facts are clear and alarming. 1. Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited does not possess a valid consent instrument from the Itasa community. A fundamental requirement for any mining operation anywhere. 2. It has no approved environmental impact assessment plan conducted prior to the commencement of mining activities as mandated by law. This blatant disregard for due process has left our environment vulnerable to devastating degradation. 3. It is not operating a valid community development agreement, despite repeated calls by the community for the company to sign the CDA we prepared and delivered to him on 4 December 2024. The entire community, sons and daughters, put the CDA together between 2023 and 2024. As the managing director failed to come up with anything acceptable or unacceptable in replacement of the one rejected by the ministry which he had submitted. This agreement is crucial to ensuring that the community benefits from the resources extracted from its land and provides the mechanism for oversight of its activities, especially as the Mines Environmental Compliance Department has failed in its responsibilities for reasons unconnected, in our view, with the Nigerian factor. 4. It has no geological survey that we have seen, even after requesting to see it, raising serious questions about the sustainability and safety of the mining operations in vast areas of our land. For 20-odd years, Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited has operated with impunity.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That was a press conference delivered by the Itasa community, and that statement was read by Professor Bayo. Aborishade. That press statement is entitled Before Disaster Strikes, Rejecting Illegal Mining Activities in Itasa Community Land by Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited. Itasa is on the news. Itasa community. You will hear more as we go. It is the class of history, politics, and power. The theme of this class is Tinubu-Wike versus Fubara, power, betrayal, and the lessons of history. The lessons of history. Do we learn from history? Adeniji Ademola says, introspectively speaking, Tinubu is not ideologically sound when it comes to politics, but always want to be in total control, without any meaningful impact or contribution to the economy. You know, there are some contributions to the economy, no doubt, but it's not enough to change the face of society. Emmanuel John is in class. Emmanuel John, thank you. O-Cube, yes, O-Cube says, so when Obaseki was getting back from Aso Rock cabal, from Aso Rock cabal against Ushomole, because they wanted to get at Tinubu, it was okay. Nobody's saying it was okay. I'm explaining politics. I'm not saying it's okay or not okay. I'm explaining the battles of politics. You know, there's this battle, and that battle leads to underdevelopment. You know, Obaseki had to pull down the roof of Edo State House of Assembly to make sure that Edo State House of Assembly did not sit. Fubara had to go and do the same. It's not about what is right or not right. It's about the ugly politics we play. Okay, O-Cube, that's the point I'm making. O-Cube says, when Fubara went back on their accord, which accord? Accord for what? You see, I have not brought in the people in this discussion. I'm just talking about the political elite. They signed their own accord for what? Is it accord for good governance or accord for sharing formula? Accord. He said it is well, at least you have succeeded in dragging Tinubu into it. Dragging Tinubu. Tinubu is in the battle. Say dragging. Or Tinubu is the striker here. Who wants to drag the president into it? He's the striker. He's the go-getter. He's the one shooting. You can't tell you drag Tinubu. It's a power game. He saw the lacuna, so he moved in. He saw it, he moved in. You know, Rivers State is one of the richest states in Nigeria. And to win a presidential election, you need Rivers State. I'll get to that point. It's in my script. So, Rivers State is trapped in a circle. It is always Rivers State. The actors change, but the script remains the same. One man installs a successor, or a successor is somehow installed. You know, Odili didn't want Amechi. Odili preferred Umehia. Amechi was Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly. Odili didn't want him. He knew Amechi was ambitious. So he wanted the Kama Celestine Umehia. And Umehia won the election. But Supreme Court removed him and said the ticket belongs to PDP. So that Amechi did not contest in that election, really. Because PDP did not allow him to contest. So he did not even contest. He was not in the ballot paper. But the Supreme Court said that it is the party that presents the candidate. So that's how Amechi became governor. So immediately Amechi became governor, He didn't give Odili any room at all. He took charge. He took charge until he began to fall out with Jonathan's wife. But soon, let's go back to 2013. I had an interview with Professor Tam David West. Professor Tam David West, a former Minister of Petroleum under Buhari, when Buhari was military head of state. Tam David West is no more. You know, when the Amechi-Jonathan war was brewing in 2013, I sat down with Professor Tam David West. Let's listen. We are going back into time.
Behind all this couple, Mr. Jonathan and Jonathan himself, and his chief of staff, Wike. Let me start with the last chief of staff, Wike. Wike is one of the closest friends and confidant of Amechi. They are so close, he made him chief of staff. They were very, very close. But they were so close. And Amechi left him, that is his mistake. Maybe now on hindsight, you know he made mistake. Amechi left Wike almost free hand. And there was this gossip in River State that there are two governors, Amechi and Wike. He gave his staff not free hand. Now the problems first started when Wike showed interest to be governor after Amechi. And Amechi said no. River State, like Nigeria, the geographical reality and sensitivity. We are riverine and upland, or upland and riverine. Like Nigeria, north and south. So after me, Ikwere man, 8 years of Ikwere, as governor of River State, it will be very, very wrong, morally and in any consideration, for you also Ikwere and related to me, to be governor again for 8 years. The next governor should come from the riverine area. You cannot fault that, you cannot fault it. Of course, Wike refused. At first he denied, but he declared a few weeks ago. That's one. Then, Wike indicated interest in going to Senate. Amechi then also said, after governorship, my interest is Senate. All that, not Vice President. So there is getting another clash.
Has Amechi confirmed to you that he's interested in running for a senatorial position?
I have very solid evidence for that, yes. And I've said it, and he knows I don't use my words carelessly. I've said this many times, in many interviews. And since after these interviews, we've had personal one-to-one. He never corrected me. It's true. Now when they now said that Jonathan, according to Mr. Jonathan, faithful Jonathan, that Amechi wanted to be vice president. It's not true. They want to run with Lamido. And decided to put posters. Amechi has denied so many times, I'm not interested in vice presidency. I'm interested in Senate. They refuse to listen. Now, look at how that argument defeats itself. Sule Lamido, one of the great supporters of Jonathan, has indicated clearly that he's going to run for president. Now, somebody who declared to run for president is not icking you. But someone who is suspect run for vice president, it doesn't make sense. It's all, the whole thing is just, it's just absurdity and contradictions.
So are you putting the whole blame at the doorstep of the president?
Completely at the doorstep of the president and his wife. I come to his wife.
What has the wife got to do with this?
Beautiful. Mr. Jonathan is very, very obtrusive. Mr. Jonathan has been so rude to Amechi. He has absorbed it. I don't think there's any two people like that can absorb what I'm going to tell you. Mr. Jonathan has openly told him that she wanted to kick a man as governor. That is useless. Mr. Jonathan was visiting a cricker in River State. Of course, he will come at the airport. Whatever I tell you, I put my honor on it, and I stand to be challenged. and are given indemnity to are given full indemnity to your station. So Ms. Amechi was in a social function with Mrs. Jonathan at Okrika, our hometown. Was making a speech. Mrs. Jonathan went up to the stage and took the microphone away from the governor and told him to get out. Few press reported it. I'm surprised that no press wrote an editorial on this. She told him to get out, took the microphone away from him. Now, anytime she has opportunity, she insults him publicly. Now Wike she's talking Wike. She was in Port Harcourt that dark Friday. I landed the same day with her. Finally, I left the airport before I plane arrived. Port Harcourt was at a standstill. Security. Even the governor cannot come out of the government house. The roads were blocked because Mr. Jonathan was visiting Port Harcourt.
Does this mean that she hates Amechi? And why will she hate Amechi?
That beautiful question. She doesn't know Amechi, she detests him. Because he's strong-willed. They couldn't manipulate him.
Manipulate him in what way?
You see, why is Governor's Forum so important? Governor's Forum is for every party, every governor.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, that interview with Professor Tam David West was in 2013. 2013, yes. Yes, Professor Tam David West. He was one of Rotimi Amechi's confidants at that time. That was about 12 years ago. So you can see the intrigues. That was Jonathan against Amechi using Wike. It is about politics and power. I'm not talking about Atiku here. Nah, I'm not talking about Peter Obi. They might also do the same. It's about power. It's about power. Every ruler believes he can control his heirs. And I said that is the first mistake they make. Power is not transferred, it is taken in a system like that of Nigeria. Wike believed he could outmaneuver history. He got it wrong. The students turned against the teacher. The master became the hunted. This has happened before. It will happen again. By August 2023, the first crack appeared. What was the trigger? It was about the control of financial decisions and appointments. Wike expected total submission. He wanted to dictate the composition of the Rivers State Cabinet. He insisted on nominating all commissioners, leaving Fubara with only one slot. Did you hear that? He insisted on nominating all commissioners, leaving Fubara with only one slot. 14 of the appointed commissioners were Wike's men. The governor was surrounded by loyalists of his predecessor. Fubara was a king in name, but his court was full of spies. Then Fubara did the unthinkable. He reached out to Wike's political rivals, particularly those aligned with Atiku Abubakar, the PDP presidential candidate in the 2023 election. Wike had fought these men off and driven them to Abuja. Now, under Fubara's watch, they were returning to Rivers to take on Wike. The fear of losing control made Wike tighten his grip. But Fubara resisted. His attempt to nominate 2 additional commissioners without Wike's approval led to an open confrontation. The battle lines were drawn. History is not just a record of the past. History is a mirror. It shows us the patterns we refuse to see. You know, history warns, but we rarely listen. The David Mark National Assembly is not the Akpabio National Assembly, okay? Now let's go back to the David Mark National Assembly. Under Jonathan, David Mark was the Senate President. When Amechi and Jonathan were fighting, Wike was the Minister of State for Education under Jonathan. David Mark made this speech.
Clearly, what is happening in Rivers State is an embarrassment to legislators across the length and breadth of this country. And it is in the interest of state assemblies not to do anything that will portray legislators as irresponsible, because that is not what we are. Clearly also, what is happening is totally unacceptable, and it must be condemned in the strongest possible terms in its entirety, irrespective of who is involved, who is directly involved, or who is behind it. It is not a situation that we expect, and we will not want it to continue beyond this point where it has reached. Democracy involves dialogue, give and take, and at every point people must learn to dialogue, to discuss and bring issues to the table, not to fight over issues to the level where it has reached. But because of the urgency, I also believe that this Senate must take immediate steps to protect democracy, to protect this country, and to ensure that democracy continues to grow and improve in the country. I believe that Senator Abe has raised very serious issues, and I think it is proper that we take steps to ensure that the Rivers State Assembly is restored to normalcy so that they can continue their activities in terms of legislation. I think that in respect of this, I will hand over some resolutions to the Senate leader so that he can read it out from there, because I cannot propose resolutions from here. But in order for us to be able to get the facts so that we are also properly briefed and that we are not operating just by the things that we see and hear from the media only, I think it is appropriate that we send our committee to go and investigate for us. In the meantime, while that is going on, I want to appeal to all the parties involved that they shield their swords until we're able to get a feedback from our committee and we're able to take resolution. Let me also state here in very clear terms.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, why did David Mark make that point then? Jonathan was trying to hijack Rivers State House of Assembly to impeach Amechi. You see, history keeps repeating itself. So at that point, Amechi was in control of Rivers State House of Assembly. But Jonathan and his wife and Wike were able to divide the assembly. So there was an instant when they wanted to impeach Amechi, Amechi had to move into the Rivers State House of Assembly with his security men to go and bully the members of House of Assembly. Rivers State has always been in crisis. Now, David Mark National Assembly wasn't a rubber stamp assembly like Akpabio's assembly. In fact, Jonathan was not in control of the House of Reps. Tambuwa was in control. When the House of Reps discovered what Jonathan wanted to do, the House of Reps came out with emotion and took over the duties of the Rivers State House of Assembly. So that Jonathan will not be able to engineer them to impeach Amaechi. I'm just reflecting on history. Reflections on history. To remind us, how come we don't learn from history? Jonathan, Tinubu, Buhari. Buhari was more controlled. Buhari would not bully any governor. He didn't even bully his state governor. Buhari just wanted to be president. He didn't care whether you are chairman or governor. He just wanted to be president for 8 years. And he did everything possible to be president for 8 years. After that, he has gone back to his house to rest and take care of his cows. Yes. Now, it's still about learning from history. I don't know if you remember Alamessian, Diprier Alamessian. Diprier Alamessian was the governor of Bayelsa State. Goodluck Jonathan was his deputy. You get? You know, in all this case, we have not mentioned Obasanjo. Obasanjo planted all this crisis. Obasanjo is the engineer of the violence, the chaotic nature of Nigeria's democracy. He planted it. Obasanjo began to disrupt houses of assemblies. He impeached Ladoja. You know, Ladoja told me then that 20 Adedibu would not have been able to impeach him. And that's the truth. Who is Adedibu to impeach Ladoja? The governor. There's no way Adedibu would have been able to impeach Ladoja. You know, there's Adedibu is powerful. No. It was Obasanjo that was telling Adedibu, go. He will give Adedibu police. He will give Adedibu. But soon, look for Bolarumi. You know, when Ladoja was impeached, his deputy became the governor. That's Alao Akala. And Adedibu appointed a new deputy for Akala. That is Azim Bolarumi. Now, I want you to listen to this interview with Bolarumi. I had this interview with Bolarumi. That was in 2012. Yes, I think it was 2012. Azim Bolarumi on State Affairs.
Adedibu groomed you.
Precisely.
Adedibu made you a deputy governor.
He made me, yeah.
Tell me, what happened the night before you were chosen?
That particular night, if I can still recollect vividly, Baba just called me on phone that you'll be the next deputy governor. I did not even aware.
Did you shout for joy?
I was very happy because I've never even expected it anyway.
Did you deserve to be a deputy governor?
To me, I believe the people, the leaders of the party, believed that I deserve it because I worked tirelessly
to impeach Ladoja.
Even not to impeach Ladoja, even to contribute to the emergence of Ladoja himself as the governor of the state.
You also worked tirelessly to remove him.
Of course, because not, let me call it the leaders, removed him.
No, Bolarumi and co.
I may lead, yes, I may lead. I agree with you, I may lead the struggle. But that will be in connection. It was the collective responsibilities of the political leaders of the party.
You were Baba's henchman.
Yes.
You were given the ticket to go remove Ladoja.
Not, yes.
How did you do it?
Actually, normally they did it the way it's supposed to be done.
How?
Because we had the 18 legislators against that of 32. Against that of Ladoja's legislators, I think 18 minus 32 will be
14.
So we believed that the leaders believed then that they have already gotten the majority.
What was Ladoja's offense?
Because my brother, the way I look at it, because I've told you earlier that I would not like a situation where I will be joining issues with
It's the past. We are just looking at the past.
Because you can't, this is a collective effort of the leaders. You cannot take that to yourself alone. You cannot run the government as if it's your private business.
He was the governor.
He was the governor, fine. But you cannot do it alone. You need people around you to work together, to think together. You cannot do it alone.
But there were people with him. He had commissioners.
My brother, our leaders did not look it that way. I think
he sidelined the party leaders.
He sidelined the party completely.
But at the beginning, Adedibu was enjoying the relationship.
Yes, so as at that time...
Because he was getting from the security vote.
He has not even gotten any kobo. Quote me.
But how much did he want from the security vote?
Let me tell you one story.
Okay.
I've told you I would not like a situation where I'll be joining issue with somebody like our elder statesman, respected Governor Rashidi Ladoja, because he's my brother, he's my father. He can never say so. He can never.
He can never say that Adedibu wanted money from the security vote.
He's not.
Who were the thugs on the street killing and shooting people? Do you know them?
I may not know them because we were not part of that system.
I learned you led the thugs that invaded the governor's office during that period.
They were not thugs. I led the political party members.
That invaded the governor's office?
Not invaded the government office.
Invaded the House of Assembly.
We were supporting the then 18 members. As at that time, the governor used his power that the 18 members should not be allowed to their chambers. We all now decided, how could that happen? They are honorable members of the House of Assembly. You can't just deny them their right. It did not allow them to sit. How could that be possible? We now called all the members of the party to assist those 18 honorable members so that they should be allowed to sit.
So what did you do? You broke down the gate?
They closed. Initially, we were there with the policemen. Because we told the Commissioner of Police before we went.
Remember at that point, Obasanjo had already told the police commissioner to take orders from Adedibu.
Were you there, my brother?
Can't you remember?
You were not there.
What happened? What did Obasanjo say?
I may not know. Because this is, I believe, as at that time, we were doing it the way we believe it ought to be done.
They were youths that had guns. They invaded the secretariat.
It's not so. It's not so.
That was not what happened?
That's exactly what not happened.
But there were clashes in the city.
Hello? You say?
There were clashes in the city.
There were.
So who were those fighting?
We know, when sometimes when such a rally come up in any political party, you may see all these hoodlums. They may decide to join you. So that could happen. But none of us had any weapon with us because we were led by the policemen. So how could we be holding any harms?
So eventually Ladoja was pulled down and you were compensated with the position of a deputy governor.
I may not know. Because
for a job well done.
I wouldn't know because they believe I merited it.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is Azim Bolarumi. That interview was in 2012. Are we learning from history? That was Obasanjo using Adedibu to orchestrate the impeachment of Ladoja. It's about history. It's about politics. It's about power. It's about Splash 105.5 FM. The Integrity Station.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM.
The soap-making industry in Ikpapo seems to be one of the critical identities of Ikpapo as a place. Every homestead has its own methodology of going about the soap-making in Ikpapo, but it's still cottage industries. It's still at subsistence level. It's at the lowest rung of the value chain. The methodology, the know-how, the identity, the technology is still there. In my view, there is an opportunity, a great opportunity for this to rise further up the value chain, which is the thrust of the kind of intervention we're trying to make with our foundation and the National Youth Service Corps members and volunteers that are working with us on this project. The industry of our women and their economic importance to the livelihood of families, to training children and helping the community grow, for the longest time, I believe, has been underemphasized, has been understated. Our women are not indolent. They are hardworking. I mean, if you go to the length and breadth of the southwest of Nigeria and southeast as well, you find them industrious, hardworking, dedicated, breadwinners, I dare say, in the society. So the thinking that women are sitting at home, warming the bench, to be given handouts is a fallacy that has gone for too long. A research of this nature will find, let me give an example. We were valuing the naira worth of a tray that one of the women our team worked with was selling. And that old tray was going to about 50,000 naira, sold in a day. If 50 to 70,000 naira is sold in a day, multiply that by 10, okay? Suddenly that woman is no longer the poor peasant that we thought she was. But the challenge is the packaging, the branding, the identity, those other things that will add value to it to make it acceptable on a global market, on a global scale. Refining the technology, like a conversation with the KBSC would have shown that while they are using their legs to thread in the process, a machine could be done to thread from the white oil to the black oil, consolidating it to take it further up the value chain from cottage industry to, a small soap making factory. And from that further down is what needs to be done. But that the women are involved, the women are active in industry, and the women are critical to the economic success story of a place like Ikpapo, as they are, as you find across the length and breadth of Africa. Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikpapo. Interestingly, together with our Ori, which is shea butter, and we also have our variant of Gari. So when I'm not throwing shades at Ijebu Gari and Egba Gari, but we have our own Ikpapo Gari as well. But the focus here is our Oshe Dudu. Yes, Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikpapo to the world that can distinguish us and is on the journey, particularly with this opportunity you've given us, Edmond, to be documented to the world. What we're trying to do at the Beulah Day Foundation, working with Ikpapo and the National Youth Service Corps members working with us on the project and the volunteers, is that by the time we had the branding, we had the funding for them to upscale, so from subsistence level to cottage industry. By the time we help them with the identity, because Oshedudu is organic. Where we are talking about sustainability, we're talking about an eco age, we're talking about green gases and all whatnot. Something that's not chemical based, something that is that has health benefits to the world, properly packaged. When we can document the each bar soap and tell you what is in it, from the ori that is there to the ash that is there to the process, but with that refinement, which is what the world needs to see, and then the identity from each ojule that is producing it. So for instance, I'm from the Ilegbenogbeno, and we'll find almost every house has their own methodology and the people doing it, the women that are doing it. So if we brand it and say from Ile Balogun or Ile Mogaji or Ile original products of Ipapo, Oshedudu of Ilegbeno certified, the same way you certify organic products, and we package it and put it together and we put it in the global scene, then we not only elevate our people from just subsistence making of Oshedudu black soap, we also elevate them, give them visibility.
From information submitted to us by Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited itself, the minerals being mined from our community land include kunzite, morganite, spodumene, lepidolite, fluorspar, and bligonite. We have further investigated and learned about other precious minerals being mined from our community land without our consent. West Oyo, in quotes, which includes Itasa land, has been listed on stock exchanges internationally. This means that our land, and particularly its mineral resources, have been staked by the company or companies laying claim to the mineral title holders. The quality of lithium found in Oyo West that is listed and staked, which includes Itasa land, is of the highest grade, such that it does not require further processing and or the usual huge processing expenditure. Unfortunately, the minerals which ought to be a blessing are those being turned into a curse, threatening not only the current generation but also future generations by the involvement of networks of illegal miners on an international scale. Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited had passed to us documentary evidence of collaboration with foreign mining companies which loot and destroy the environment at the expense of the future of our people.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live. State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
It's about learning from history. It's about Tinubu. It's about Wike. It's about Fubara. It's about politics. It's about Nigeria. You listened to Azim Bolarumi there. You know, a similar scenario with presidential power in Oyo State. So Bolarumi gave the side of Ate Adedibu. Now, Adiolu Adeleke was the Speaker of Oyo State House of Assembly during that crisis. I spoke with Adiolu Adeleke about what happened during that time. This interview was in 2012. You can see something like a repetition of what happened in Oyo State in 2005 in Rivers State. I don't know if you can see any similarity.
What happened in 2005 concerning the unlawful impeachment of Senator Rashid Adeoladoja as the executive governor of Oyo State is the same thing is going on presently in Rivers State. And to me as a person, based on the role that I played at that particular period of time, I see what is happening in Rivers State as a replica of what happened in Oyo State in year 2005.
There is a commissioner called Mbu in Rivers State, and there was a commissioner called Johnson in Oyo State. Can you compare both of them?
I can compare the two of them with just only one statement, that the two of them are birds of the same feathers.
What was unique about Johnson during that era?
The uniqueness in Jonathan Johnson by that point in time was that he desecrated the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because he supported the unlawful act that took place in Oyo State by that particular period of time.
When you say unlawful act, can you give us details? What did he do and what did he not do?
He did not allow the rule of law to prevail in the states.
Did Jonathan Johnson listen to the then governor, Senator Ladoja?
He did not.
Who was he taking orders from?
He was taking order directly from the villa.
So he was the president's man?
Correct.
While Ladoja was the chief security officer, but he was not in charge of security.
He was not in charge. He was not in charge.
Is that what is happening in Rivers State?
Of course.
Can you remember the invasion of Oyo State House of Assembly?
What happened on the floor of Rivers State House of Assembly about 2 days ago was exactly what happened in the case of Oyo State during that turbulent period. The invasion of the House of Assembly took place in the Oyo State House of Assembly by the talks and few of my colleagues, and the same thing happened in Rivers State House of Assembly.
Did you expect such an invasion then?
We expected it because the dimension that the crisis took by that point in time, the invasion did not come to me as a surprise.
When they invaded the house, did you run?
When the assembly was invaded, I did not run. Likewise, my colleagues.
What did you do? Were you guys not scared?
We were together on the assembly chamber. We were together on the floor of the house. The first time the assembly was invaded.
You were the speaker?
Yeah, I was.
When they invaded the house, what was your feeling like? What was the picture in your mind?
When the house was invaded, my mind as a man was to fight back constitutionally and legally, which I did.
Are you suspecting that somebody wants to impeach Amaechi in Rivers State?
Mr. Bilo, I can rightly say it that Mr. President, I'm not a novice in politics. I can rightly say that Mr. President is behind the crisis in Rivers State. That's why I can say on a good authority without any fear of contradiction.
how did you arrive at this kind of bold conclusion?
Of course, because I'm following the trend of events in Rivers State.
Remember, the president is in China.
Like I told you, what is going on in Rivers State is just a replica of what happened in Oyo State. But I don't want to say much about what happened in Oyo State because we just started healing the wounds in the state. What we are after is that such things will not happen in Oyo State again. In fact, when I saw it on the screen day for yesterday, I was weeping. Because I couldn't have expected it that in the days of modernization, the State House of Assembly legislators could involve in such barbaric, primitive, and archaic and dastardly art again. Because we fought against it. We fought gallantly in order not for such thing to happen in this country again. But it's quite unfortunate that the man at the end of our affairs, because of his own desperacy, is out to impeach Amaechi.
The presidency has come out to say the president's hands are not in this at all. Count the president out of this scuffle.
I agree with Mr. President that he was not involved. Based on those, I agree with his statements. But I know that is a blatant lie.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That interview was in 2013, not 2012. You say the hand of Jonathan. Yes, always the hand of the president. The hand of Jonathan. The hand of Obasanjo. Listen to Ladoja here. Ladoja has something to say.
We got good governance.
Yes, to some extent, yes.
Under Obasanjo.
To some extent, yes.
Senator Ladoja, are you insisting?
You see, the first term of Obasanjo was good. Second term, he started fighting everybody. Something like saying, "Look, I'm now in power. I'm now in charge."
And he was really in charge.
He was really in charge. He did not kill my principles, and maybe people would not even have understood me if it did not happen. So, for me, I didn't really. I mean, he had the powers to do it, and he didn't believe in democracy, because when I told him that I could not be impeached because they would never muster two-thirds majority, he told me 2/3 my vote.
And that was true.
And that was true. Yes. But luckily, there is a third arm of government, the judiciary, which will tell you this is the limit.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You know, in the past, I've not talked about the judiciary today. In the past, the judiciary was not in the politics. But as things generate, the judiciary is enmeshed in the politics of the moment. So we now have three arms of government involved in politics. I'll get there. And that is dangerous. The three arms of government are now involved in politics. Hey. Are you there? Take note, Rivers State is trapped in a circle. The actors change, but the script remains the same. At the point Amaechi versus Odili, and Providence smiled on Amaechi, when Umehia was removed as governor by the courts. Mind you, you heard Professor Bayo Aborishade talking about Itasa community. Before disaster strikes, Itasa is rejecting illegal mining activities in its land. Itasa cries out. Itasa mourns. You will hear more from Professor Bayo Aborishade on this edition of State Affairs. At a point, it was Wike and Jonathan against Amechi. Now, it is Tinubu-Wike against Fubara. Tomorrow, what will happen? Power once given is never kept. From the theory of Nigerian politics and from the philosophy of Tinubu's politics, power must be seized. Those who forget this are doomed to be overthrown. Fubara forgot that. In Tinubu's power dictionary, power must be seized. Tinubu's power dictionary is Wike's dictionary. Power must be seized. Fubara did not know this, and those who forget this are doomed to be overthrown. Are you in this class? I'm talking about a system of brutal power, where power is not for development. Loyalty in politics is a tool, not a virtue. Loyalty in politics is a tool, not a virtue. In this brutal politics, it lasts only as long as it is useful. The moment survival demands betrayal, betrayal becomes inevitable. Ask Tinubu how many persons have betrayed him. Ask Tinubu. Just that Tinubu is a survivor. Perhaps he thinks ahead of others. So as you betray him, he knows and he prepares. In fact, Wike has found the right mentor. Jonathan could not have been Wike's mentor. You can see immediately Jonathan left office. Wike abandoned him. Wike betrayed him. So Wike is now with the right mentor. If you think Wike is still a member of the PDP, think again. The idea is to cut PDP down. It is the power game. We'll come to that, not on this edition of State Affairs. Remember, she is not happy with the state of emergency declared in Rivers State. The governor of Oyo State opposes it. Amechi fought Odili, Wike fought Amechi, Fubara fights Wike. Each one thought he was different. Each one believed he could avoid the fate of his predecessor. Each one fell into the same trap. This is not an accident. It is human nature. The strong man rules, the weaker man waits. One day the weak man finds strength and the cycle repeats. Betrayal is the essence of Nigerian politics. Fubara's defection to Wike's rivals was not an act of courage. It was survival. A ruler cannot share his throne, and Fubara understood that to govern, he had to break free. The moment he began assembling his own allies, the war began. Wike's response was swift. He demanded total obedience. When Fubara resisted, the former governor unleashed the full weight of his influence, controlling the legislature, deploying the judiciary, and using the federal connection to tighten the noose. The battle for Rivers State escalated from political maneuvering to outright institutional warfare. The battle for Rivers State escalated from political maneuvering to outright institutional warfare. From this moment, neither man held back. Words turned to actions. Fubara accused Wike's commissioners of undermining him. They, in turn, refused to respect the governor's authority. Decision-making was impossible. Fubara needed approval for Abuja. Fubara needed approval from Abuja for any expenditure above 30 million naira. The governor needed approval from Wike for any expenditure above 30 million naira. Hey, frustrated, the governor even considered resigning. Then, on October 29, 2023, war erupted in the most symbolic way possible. The Rivers State House of Assembly was bombed. The next day, October 30, the entire building was demolished under the pretense of structural defects. But the real reason was clear. Intelligence report had warned Fubara that an impeachment process was about to begin, so he acted first by demolishing the House of Assembly. In response, Wike's loyalists in the Assembly, led by Speaker Amefulem, turned against Fubara. The governor, in a strategic move, appointed Edison Ehie as his chief of staff to plug the leaks in the administration. He also installed a new speaker, Victor Oko Jumbo, forming a rival legislative body with only 4 members. At this point, Rivers State had 2 assemblies, one loyal to Fubara, the other loyal to Tinubu-Wike. Governance had turned into a battlefield. The courts became weapons. The courts became weapons. Are you there? The courts became weapons. The assembly was an army. Each side used legal rulings as bullets, striking down opponents with judicial verdicts. The judiciary has been politicized. The Nigerian judiciary is now politics. The courts were weapons in the battle. The assembly was an army. Each side used legal rulings as bullets, striking down opponents with judicial verdicts. The state courts favored Fubara. The federal courts protected Wike. It was a classic case of divided loyalty, where law was not an instrument of justice, but a tool of power. Are you in this class? It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Listen. It was a classic case of divided loyalty, where law was not an instrument of justice, but a tool of power. In a decisive move, Wike's loyalists resigned, leaving Fubara's government weak. But Fubara struck back with a strategic appointment, like I said before, appointing Edison Ehie as the chief of staff, sealing the leaks within his inner circle. This was an essential strategic move. When threatened, a ruler must consolidate power within a trusted few. Are you interested in power? You like power and politics? You know, my school of politics have started quietly. You want to be a student? I'm a student of my class too. I learn. I relearn. I like learning from you. Come on, X, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think on YouTube. It is about power struggle. Seeing that the crisis was destabilizing one of Nigeria's most important oil-producing states, President Bola Tinubu intervened. He shot. President Tinubu brokered the peace deal, but that deal failed. Wike and Fubara returned to the trenches. Tinubu, in a nationwide broadcast on Tuesday, highlighted efforts he made to resolve the Rivers State crisis.
Fellow Nigerians, I feel greatly disturbed at the tone we have come to regarding the political crisis in Rivers State. Like many of you, I have watched with concern the development with hope that the parties involved will allow good sense to prevail at the soonest. But all that hope borne out without any solution to the crisis. With the crisis persisting, there's no way democratic governance, which we all fought and worked for over the years, can thrive in a way that will redound to the benefit of the good people of the state. The state has been at a standstill since the crisis started, with the good people of the state not being able to have access to the dividend of democracy. Also, it is public knowledge that the governor of Rivers State, for unjustifiable reasons, demolished the House of Assembly of the state as far back as 13th December 2023, and as up till now, 14 months after, now rebuilt the same. I have made personal interventions between the contending parties for a peaceful resolution of this crisis, but my efforts have been largely ignored by the parties to the crisis. I'm also aware that many well-meaning Nigerians, leaders of thought, and patriotic groups have also intervened at various times with the best of intentions to resolve the matter, but all their efforts were also to no avail.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
That is President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday. Yes, I saw a comment just now. Somebody just reminded me of what happened in Kwara State. That is Mr. Community Note. He said Saraki controlled Ahmed for 8 years. Thank you for reminding me about Saraki and Ahmed in Kwara State. Yes, Ahmed was loyal to Saraki. Yes, he was. Saraki was able to control his successor for 8 years. But there was this understanding. Both of them were mature about it. Wike doesn't want to control Fubara. He doesn't want Fubara to exist. It's not even about a governor. I will not come and meet you for you to approve money for me. And Tinubu appointed that person as minister. Tinubu is not a neutral party in this matter. He can't be neutral. Did you see when Wike entered the Joland last week? He moved in like a general, fortified with the army, the police, armored vehicles. Even Fubara will not have that kind of protection. It is about politics. It's about power. I am not talking about the consequences yet. Let's leave that for now. Let's leave that for now. I hope the president knows what he's doing. I just hope so. But somehow we have to build a country in the interest of all. We just have to. You know, in my dream, I heard myself saying, if Fubara wanted to survive, he should have acted faster. I was hearing my voice in my dream. I was saying, power is not defended with words. It is secured with action, especially in a place like Rivers. In my dream, I heard my voice saying that Fubara should have purged Wike's loyalists immediately. He tarried. And he's paying dearly for it. He hesitated. He tried to negotiate. He sought for peace when war was the only path to go. By the time he moved, it was too late. And when the Supreme Court ruled, boom! I saw him shaking. Come. There's one interview I will play you. The interview I had with Lai Mohammed when Jonathan was wrestling Amechi. Time. Bosu, I can see those phones buzzing. Let's hear. Let's listen. Let's learn from the listener. Hello, good morning. Okay, the numbers to call 070-694-93000. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, Baba, good to hear your voice.
Yes, you are my husband. You are of the same age. You are a wizard. You are a wizard, Edmund. You see, let me remind you. Judiciary has been involved in for quite a long time. We witnessed it. It was done. You see, let me give you that's the history.
Baba, your line is not clear.
I'm hearing you.
I can't hear you well. Your line is not clear.
Oh my God.
Okay, Baba, continue. Try. Don't give up.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is that I said you are a wizard. Because all what you are even evidence of what you are you see,
all right, we have to let Baba go. It wasn't clear. Hello, good morning.
My father, good morning. This is Anthony on the line.
Hey, Mr. Anthony, good morning.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I've carefully listened to you since this morning. You are really explaining the whole thing about this politics, so-called politics. But something comes to my mind. We are not practicing democracy. What we are practicing is kleptocracy. And these are the things you see in kleptocracy. Because all these men, their purpose is just to embezzle, to steal, to accumulate the money in order to oppress the downtrodden, the male citizens. And that is what you are seeing. You can see, you have said it, that even the president, this president, Wike and the rest of them, they cannot stand before the people based on integrity. And they will be, they will be elected or voted or, I don't know what I will say, but except they depend on the money because they have accumulated the money and they will use it to manipulate, to buy conscience. So that is just it. And that's why I said we don't practice democracy, we practice kleptocracy. And that is to the detriment of the growth and development of this entity called Nigeria. And it's unfortunate, but we love the way the drama is going on. When they said when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And the issue of the politics in this country, the way it's going, I'm telling you, is heading to a point where we will all come back to the round table and redefine the course of running this country. This man has failed us so much, and it's obvious that they've messed up this country. The past president Jonathan himself was saying, I heard him, he said maybe they were going to put down one monument or a building where they will put their pictures of so that when generation coming we see the men that have messed up this country. And I said to myself, your own picture must be there also. no matter how innocently you are saying that. So they know that they mess up this country. And for Wike, let him know one thing. In history, we know there is a rise and fall of empires and kingdom and emperors. So he should know that definitely one day all these things will come to an end. All this kind of life. So let him believe that nothing lasts forever.
Thank you.
So we are waiting for the time when his time will be over too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony, for calling the radio station. Thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Abino. My name is Akiola.
Yes, make your point.
All right. In the course of this class, one of your interviews came to my mind. Your interview with Chief Tola Adeniyi. Nigeria has always been practicing plutocracy, not democracy. But one thing is sure, for every man action in this face of the earth, one law is certain, the law of sowing and reaping. Mr. Obilo, good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. He just hit the nail on the head. Hit the nail on the head. You know, so that I can take more calls. I won't take more than a minute comment. So once I'm saying thank you, you round up. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Obilo. My name is John Betrayal.
Oh, John, good to hear your voice.
It's a pleasure. So, the political wahala in Rivers State, all Nigerians know the beginning. It's only the end that we don't know. But I pray the end is good for all of us. We have to commend the president for saving Fubara from a political shame if he were to be impeached by the House, because the House was almost impeaching him before the state of emergency was declared. Fubara still have hope in coming back as a governor. If he were to be impeached, there wouldn't have been hope. 50-50, the court will adjudicate either in favor of him or against him. But each time I listen to your program, I don't feel hungry. I will relax. And each time I miss your program, it's like when fish misses water. Continue to do this good job you are doing to politically enlighten us. Look at where you have gone to do. There are so many interviews you have had with people in line with such things. When are we going to end this political godfatherism in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you. That's John Oguche. But would they have been able to impeach Fubara? Remember, Fubara is in control of Rivers State Judiciary. You know, you must send that impeachment notice to the chief judge. And once the chief judge turns it down, you go nowhere. Perhaps they were heading to a stalemate. What they saw was that they were heading to a stalemate. You know, the House of Assembly was trying to bully the chief judge. Because once you take it to the table of the chief judge and he sets up that committee and they say nothing has not, they say, oh, he's not guilty. It's over. So perhaps they saw that there was going to be stalemate. They won't pay salary because Fubara had no money to pay salary for the next month. The House of Assembly could not bully the chief judge. And they said, okay, we need to find a way out. You see, we are watching. You know, the courts are involved in this battle. A lot is going to happen because Tinubu is also stoking crisis in Kanu. Kanu has not erupted because they are managing it well, and it has to do with the emir. The courts are involved. The Nigerian court system has moved into politics full time. So soon you will say this chief judge is APC, this chief judge is PDP. It's allowed. Let's play politics. Let's play politics. Bosun, I can see a caller there. That phone, when you pick calls from this one, there's always wahala. Hello, good morning.
Are you hearing me now?
Ah, Baba, I can hear you now.
Now, let me summarize what I wanted to say. You see, where you dream me was where you said you don't want to discuss the consequences of the crisis in the River State. But let me tell you, Tinubu has many enemies. He is able to stand man to man with the enemies in Nigeria, starting from Chief Obasanjo. But the foreign enemies allow them to have power on Tinubu. Fire. Good day. Thank you.
All right. Tinubu, we have enemies. It's normal. You know, they already ganging up. Atiku, what's that guy's name again from Kaduna? El-Rufai. That guy. Okay, I will deal with him at some point. Not now. You know, these guys just think they can be jumping around. You know, and Nigerians will be clapping. You go on social media, Nigerians are taking side. Taking side against the oppressor. They are all oppressors. I can't see comments. Somebody will come, Edmond, you have not said anything. This is that. Which side are you? My friend, don't ask me that kind of question again on my pages. I'll be in the side of El-Rufai. Why? Or in the side of Tinubu. Why? We are getting to a point where we'll ask ourselves, what do we want as a people? Whatever side you are, the country is becoming more violent. Poverty is rising. Food prices are rising. Banditry is spreading. Did you read Shea Makinde's newsletter? Did you read the newsletter? Shea Makinde had to call a meeting of all stakeholders. There is fire on the mountain. Bandits are in Yoruba forest. Under Tinubu's watch. Bosun, Kunle Togun. So that Kunle Togun will remind us. Bandits are in Southwest Forest. Under Tinubu's watch. They are coming in massively. Itasa community is being occupied now with some bandits. All in the name of mining. And they are fighting for political power for what? Political power for what? Political power for what? El-Rufai, as the governor of Kaduna State, could not stop massive violence against certain persons in Kaduna. They were killings every day. Because he's fighting Tinubu, you now say you are supporting him. On a very good day, these are men that should be put on trial to come and account for the number of lives that were lost in Kaduna. It is their dirty politics that encourages this violence. Dirty politics in the southeast, in the northwest, in the north central. They've turned the land to desolation. Our primary schools are bad. Our secondary schools are bad. Our hospitals are failing. Southwest Forest.
I was discussing with somebody one day. He was saying, as I come, you are very close to Buhari. Go and meet him. A general is a soldier for life. Ask him that in the military, when foreigners enter your territory carrying arms, what is it you are told in the military? They are described to us as invaders.
Invaders.
And what did the military say we should do with them? We are to hunt them down like rabbits and eliminate them. I said, go and meet Buhari and ask him.
He didn't hunt them down?
Who are the people doing the kidnapping? Who are the people? They now refer to them as bandits. Who are the people carrying out the banditry?
Are they in our forest around here?
The entire Yoruba land is occupied by them.
As we are talking now?
As I'm talking to you.
General Togun?
Yes.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Are we under threat in the southwest?
We are still there. The governor the other said that bandits were about 2 kilometers away from where he had his body. The entire Ibarapa, the entire Okeogun, they are saturated.
Wait.
With these people.
They are in the forest. They are with guns?
Of course.
What do they want?
They have said it. That Allah has given them the land of Nigeria as their inheritance.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Let me read from the governor's recent newsletter. He said, "Hello, Edmund. Earlier today, we had an expanded meeting of Oyo State Security Council to address the threat that we are facing with errant herdsmen, illegal miners, as well as criminals and bandits being pushed out of the north who are seeking refuge in the southwest and other areas." Governor Makinde says in his newsletter, "One thing is certain, Oyo State will not welcome such criminals. We will push them back to ensure that they are flushed out of our state." And so our deliberation today was about the strategies we would deploy and the roles we all should be playing to ensure that we continue to keep our dear state safe and secure. That is Governor Makinde. But we will be fine. We will redefine this politics and we will build the land. Stay tuned.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Splash FM 105.5.
The soap-making industry in Ipapo seems to be one of the critical identities of Ipapo as a place. Every homestead has its own methodology of going about the soap-making in Ipapo, but it's still cottage industries. It's still at subsistence level. It's at the lowest rung of the value chain. The methodology, the know-how, the identity, the technology is still there. In my view, there is an opportunity, a great opportunity for this to rise further up the value chain, which is the thrust of the kind of intervention we're trying to make with our foundation and the National Youth Service Corps members and volunteers that are working with us on this project. The industry of our women and their economic importance to the livelihood of families, to training children and helping the community grow, for the longest time I believe has been underemphasized, has been understated. Our women are not indolent. They are hardworking. I mean, if you go to the length and breadth of the southwest of Nigeria and southeast as well, you find them industrious, hardworking, dedicated, breadwinners, I dare say, in the society. So the thinking that women are sitting at home, warming the bench to be given handouts is a fallacy that has gone for too long. A research of this nature will find, let me give an example. We were valuing the naira worth of a tray that one of the women our team worked with was selling. And that old tray was going to about 50,000 naira, sold in a day. If 50 to 70,000 naira is sold in a day, multiply that by 10, okay? Suddenly that woman is no longer the poor peasant that we thought she was. But the challenge is the packaging, the branding, the identity, those other things that will add value to it to make it acceptable on a global market, on a global scale. Refining the technology, like a conversation with the KBSC would have shown that while they are using their legs to thread in the process, a machine could be done to thread from the white oil to the black oil, consolidating it to take it further up the value chain from cottage industry to a small soap making factory, and from that further down is what needs to be done. But that the women are involved, the women are active in industry, and the women are critical to the economic success story of a place like Ikwapo, as you find across the length and breadth of Africa. Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikwapo. Interestingly, together with our Ori, which is shea butter, and we also have a variant of Gari. So when I'm not throwing shades at Ijebu Gari and Egba Gari, but we have our own Ikwapo Gari as well. But the focus here is our Oshe Dudu. Yes, Oshe Dudu is the identity of Ikwapo to the world that can distinguish us and is on the journey, particularly with this opportunity you've given us, Edmond, to be documented to the world. What we're trying to do at the Beulah Day Foundation, working with Ikwapo and the National Youth Service Corps members working with us on the project and the volunteers, is that by the time we had the branding, we had the funding for them to upscale, so from subsistence level to cottage industry. By the time we helped them with the identity, because Oshe Dudu is organic. Where we are talking about sustainability, we're talking about an eco-age, we're talking about green gases and all whatnot. Something that's not chemical based, something that is that has health benefits to the world, properly packaged. When we can document the each bar soap and tell you what is in it, from the ori that is there to the ash that is there to the process, but with that refinement, which is what the world needs to see, and then the identity from each ojule that is producing it. So for instance, I'm from the Ilegbenogbeno, and we'll find almost every house has their own methodology and the people doing it, the women that are doing it. So if we brand it and say from Ile Balogun or Ile Mogaji or Ile original product of Ikwapo, Oshe Dudu of Ilegbeno certified, the same way you certify organic products, and we package it and put it together and we put it in the global scene, then we not only elevate our people from just subsistence making of Oshe Dudu black soap, we also elevate them, give them visibility to the world in terms of their craft that has been there for ages and ages, and the technical knowledge is still resident in the family. And then we can then lift our people also from poverty to greater economic value. And the world is waiting for this. The world is waiting for Ikwapo. The world is waiting for our Oshe Dudu. And that's what we're partnering with the world and yourselves and the good people working with us to present to the world. Yes, Oshe Dudu is our identity. We're proud of it. We own it. And we're trying to take it to the world. The work we're doing currently is to document the footprint of Oshe Dudu, starting from the origins to the active part of our citizens, our women that are involved, to valuing their wares, their inputs, their output, their sales, that's a process we're working on. We are happy to share it at the end of the process. We're working a process, and we think we will be able to get that data. The reason I'm able to say that was 70,000 was because we then said, Mama, this small soap, how much would you sell it? And it's 2,000, really. And this one, how much is it? It's 5,000, really? So you're actually carrying wares that is valuable. You look at it and you can easily, despise it, but that is real money right there, sold every day. What they would then need to do is to find out, okay, how about financial inclusion, which is also something we do, to then open an account so you can then trace how much you've paid into it. Instead of using it to feed your children and all whatnot only, then can you save? Can we give you counterpart funding to buy the equipment you require? Adding value to them while they are on their journey to economic, to better, because they're on the economic journey, they're on the rungs, it's just that they're on the lowest rungs. Just help them to grow a little better, and we'll capture the data in our process, and then that's the data we can share. At this point in time today, we still don't have that data. The challenges we have with the methodology and the technology is something that we will, and the conservation efforts can then be looked at vis-a-vis what is currently being done, and then we can make a decision in that regard, helping them. Again, for the people, you can't force on them what they consider is their ancestral.
To take immediate action. 1, to halt all mining activities by Archetype Industries Nigeria Limited and all other mining companies until all legal requirements are met, including the signing of the Community Development Agreement. 2, conduct a comprehensive environmental impact assessment to evaluate the damage done and outline measures for remediation. 3, investigate the role of government officials in enabling these illegal activities and hold them accountable. 4, provide support to the Itasa community to restore our environment and livelihoods. And 5, save Itasa community from the impending disaster of terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping, companions of illegal mining. The time to act is now. As Wangari Maathai, the Kenyan Nobel Peace Prize laureate, wisely said, we owe it to ourselves and to the next generation to conserve the environment so that we can bequeath our children a sustainable world that benefits all.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Yeah, that's the voice of Professor Bayo Aborishade in a press conference. And that press conference was on Tuesday, the 8th of March, 2025, at the Justice Development and Peace Commission, Ibadan. Before disaster strikes, Itasa rejects illegal mining activities in its community. Itasa cries out. Itasa says it cannot afford to have its community devastated by illegal miners and bandits. Itasa cries out for help. It's about politics, it's about history, it's about power. It's the radio man's time. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station. Are you enjoying the class? let me read your comments. What do you think? And thank you for being part of the class. Fasil on X says it's very interesting to know Patience Jonathan's influence in Rivers State politics in general. Patience was Patience not more political than even Jonathan? Patience Jonathan was on ground. She was everywhere. Patience Jonathan, I think, is the most active First Lady in the Fourth Republic. She was neck deep in politics. You see her on the campaign train. No. Even Tinubu or Oluremi is not as active as Patience. Patience loved power. Power. Rivers State. Rivers State is always in the news. Power struggle in Rivers. As the battle escalated, Wike's commissioners resigned in droves. Then, in a bold move, 27 lawmakers loyal to Wike defected from the PDP to the APC. They made their defection official at the Port Harcourt Polo Club, where APC leaders, including Chief Tony Okocha and Abdul Karim Kana, welcomed them. Now the battle was no longer just about Rivers State. It had become a national political war. Then came the local government election, where Fubara took his time to strike back. In a bid to consolidate his control, Fubara orchestrated a local government election on October 5th, 2024. The PDP could not field candidates due to legal injunctions. So Fubara's loyalists joined the Action People's Party, APP. The result? A clean sweep. His men took control of all 23 local government councils. This enraged Wike. His hold on the grassroots was slipping. The battle only intensified. Then the judicial chess game. Both sides turned to the court. In Rivers State, rulings favored Fubara. The judiciary allowed him to operate with a four-man assembly, approved the state budget, and govern without the defected lawmakers. But in Abuja, the federal court ruled in Wike's favor. The minister was confident he would secure ultimate victory in the Supreme Court. He did. On February 18, 2025, the Supreme Court ruled on 4 cases, all against Fubara. The state's federal allocation was frozen. He was ordered to represent the 2025 budget to Speaker Amefule's faction of the Assembly. The ruling was widely criticized, especially after it was discovered that a case not formally brought before the court, the defection of the 27 lawmakers, was mysteriously included in the judgment certified true copy. President Tinubu speaks about the Supreme Court verdict against Fubara. So let's listen to the president as he educates us about the Supreme Court verdict.
On February 28, 2025, the Supreme Court, in a judgment in respect all about 8 consolidated appeals concerning the political crisis in Rivers State, based on several grave unconstitutional acts and the disregard of the rule of law that has been committed by the governor of Rivers State, as shown by the evidence before it, pronounced in very clear terms, and I quote, "A government cannot be said to exist without one of the three arms that make up of the government of a state under the 1999 Constitution as amended. In this case, the head of the executive arm of the government has chosen to collapse the legislature to enable him to govern without the legislature as a despot. As it is, there is no government in Rivers State," and I quote. The above pronouncement came after a catalogue of judicial findings of constitutional breaches against Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Going forward in their judgment, and having found and held that 27 members of the House who had allegedly deflected, and I quote, "are still valid members of Rivers State House of Assembly and cannot be prevented from participating in proceedings of that House by the 8th respondent, that is the governor, in cohort with 4 members," and unquote. The Supreme Court then made some orders to restore the state to immediate constitutional democracy. These orders include the immediate passing of an appropriation bill by the Rivers State House of Assembly, which up to now has not been facilitated. Some militants had threatened fire and brimstone against their perceived enemies of the governor, who has up to now not disowned them. Apart from that, both the House and the governor have not been able to work together. Both of them do not realize that they are in office to work together for the peace and good governance of the state.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
Does the president there? So the Supreme Court ruling emboldened Wike's lawmakers. Within 24 hours, they issued an ultimatum. Fubara had 48 hours to present the budget. Another ultimatum followed. He must sack 19 commissioners who had not been screened by the House. Then came impeachment threats. The Assembly even called on the DSS to investigate alleged age falsification by Rivers State Chief Judge, Justice Simeon Amadi. Arrest warrants were issued for Justice Adolphus Enebeli, chairman of the State Electoral Commission. Events moved at lightning speed. Fubara's political survival hung by a thread. But Fubara speaks. He says, brace up.
I want us to look at Philippians 3, verse 18 to 19. And it reads, "For as I've often told you before, and now I tell you again, even with tears, many live as enemy of the cross of Christ. Their destiny is destruction, and their God is in their stomach, and their glory is in their shame. Their mind is set on earthly things only." I want to say here today, and to assure everyone that has stood with us, our strength is not on earthly things. Our strength is in the supreme being. That even when we fail here, assuming has been contemplated, our victory is assured. Look, I want you to be in your highest spirit. It is not about who wins. It's about the glory and the honor of fighting gallantly. Being on the side of truth, not on the side of lies because of cheap favor. I want to assure you, all our supporters, I know the news that broke that on Friday must have dampened your spirit. Brace up. What is ahead is more than what we just passed.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
I want us to look at Philippians 3, verse 18 to 19.
Okay, because these politicians, I don't trust them anymore. Might go and tell us to look at Philippians 3, verse 18, and it's not there. So I don't trust Fubara too. So I came with a Bible to be sure. 3 verse 18. Okay, I can see it here. Okay, Fubara is right. For as I have often told you before and now, tell you again, even with tears, many live as enemies of the cross of Christ. Their destiny is destruction. Their God is their stomach. You know, if you hear them quote this Bible the way they do, you think they are so good. Fubara is now quoting Bible. Anyway, when you are in trouble, you can run to your God, no doubt. Fubara is lazy. I've not said he's weak. You see, exactly 1 month after the Supreme Court judgment, on March 18, 2025, President Tinubu made the ultimate move. He declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. The governor, his deputy, and the assembly were all suspended. The crisis had reached its peak.
The latest security report made available to me show that between yesterday and today, there have been disturbing incidents of vandalization of pipelines by some militants without governor taking any action to curtail them. I have, of course, given stand order to the security agencies to ensure safety of lives of good people of Rivers State and the oil pipelines. With all this and many more, no good and responsible president will stand by and allow the grave situation to continue without taking remedial steps prescribed by the Constitution to address the situation in the state, which no doubt requires extraordinary measures to restore good governance, peace, order, and security. In these circumstances, having soberly reflected on and evaluated the political situation in Rivers State, and the governor and deputy governor of Rivers State, having failed to make a request to me as president to issue this proclamation as required by Section 305, Paragraph 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, it has become inevitably compelling for me to invoke the provision of the Section 305 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to declare a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from today, 18th March, year 2025, and I so do. By this declaration, the governor of Rivers State, Mr. Similaye Fubara, his deputy, Mrs. Ngozi Odu, and all elected members of the House of Assembly State are hereby suspended for an initial period of 6 months. In the meantime, I hereby nominate Vice Admiral Advocate Ibas, retired, as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state and the interests of the good people of Rivers State. For the avoidance of doubt, this declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. The administrator will not make any new laws. He will, however, be free to formulate regulations and may be found necessary to do his job, but such regulations will need to be considered and approved by the Federal Executive Council and promoted by the President for the state. This declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette, a copy of which has been forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. It is my fervent hope that this inevitable intervention will help to restore peace and order in Rivers State by awakening all the contenders to the constitutional imperatives, binding on all political players in the Rivers State in particular and Nigeria as a whole.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
The governor for your state, Seyi Makinde, opposes Tinubu's declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State. In his newsletter, the governor says, as our democracy grows and unfolds, we must also be willing to speak up when we see anything that threatens our development as a nation. The governor says we must choose to stand up for what is right, even if it means standing alone. Governor Makinde stands against the declaration of a state of emergency in Rivers State and the suspension of the executive and legislative arms of government by President Tinubu. Seyi Makinde says it's an illegality that right-thinking members of the society must oppose. The governor says our democratic tenets must never be trifled with, no matter our personal feelings and loyalties. The governor is saying that this is the time to take a stand for fairness, equity, and justice. That is Governor Makinde there. I will not end this analysis without bringing you Lai Mohammed. When Jonathan was ruffling Amechi using his wife and Wike, Lai Mohammed was the National Publicity Secretary of the ACN, led by Tinubu at that time. And I caught up with him in a meeting. I asked him what he thought about what was going on in Rivers State at that time. Lai Mohammed. The recent happenings in Rivers State is becoming something everyone is interested in. And the ACN has reacted against what transpired in the House of Assembly by calling for the impeachment of the president. Is that the right thing we should be talking about at this time?
Well, if we really want to save our democracy, the president has to be removed. Because you see, if you do not locate the source of the problem in Rivers, in the villa, then we're not getting it right. Now you see, why did we call for the impeachment of the president? Because we saw the president as a man who has betrayed his oath of office. The oath of office is to uphold the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was elected democratically and he ought to uphold the rule of law. He ought to believe in majority rule and not a minority rule. And he ought to put personal interest and personal scruples far behind national issues. Clearly, what happened 2 days ago to 2 days ago in Rivers, in Porakot, it didn't start 2 days ago. Of course, it's the culmination of the feud between the president on the one hand and Governor Amechi on the other hand.
State Affairs with Edmondo Bilo is live.
You see, then, Tinubu's men said it was Jonathan. That because of what Jonathan was doing in Rivers State, that Jonathan should be impeached as the president of Nigeria. Today, Tinubu's men say Tinubu is innocent. It's innocent. Lai Mohammed and the ACN, under the leadership of Tinubu, called for the impeachment of Jonathan because of his plot to remove Amechi as governor. No, Tinubu is not involved in what's going on in Rivers State today. He can't be involved. No way. Tinubu is innocent. I have a lot to say, but I don't have much time. I don't have much time. I wanted to bring in Alamesia. I spoke with Alame. I wanted to bring in Akala. I wanted to bring in, okay, I'll let it go. No, I'll let it go. No time. No time. But let me make this point before I go. Fubara made one fatal mistake. He believed in loyalty. Wike understood the true game, control. He built an empire on gratitude. He built an empire not on gratitude, but on institutions, alliances, and coercion. When Fubara rebelled, Wike used every weapon available, law, legislature, federal influence, to crush him. Fubara fought back, but his countermeasures were reactive, not strategic. He failed to secure absolute control early. When the Supreme Court ruled, he was already cornered. In the end, power is not a gift. It is seized. You steal it and run with it. Power is ruthless in this system. Those who hold it do so not by virtue of loyalty, but by force, cunning, and unrelenting will to dominate. Remember, Amechi said the politician has come to kill, steal, and destroy. I hope Fubara understands. I hope he will understand. Perhaps next week I will tell you why presidents always want to hijack Rivers State. The next program is Ijoba Tiwa with Sheun Special. I am Edmondo Bilo. I love you. Stay tuned. It is Splash 105.5 FM, the Integrity Station.
Doggone